Previously on I Love Talking Survivor.
Right, remember you and I have totally different jobs. I mean, you get coffee and you run errands, yet I'm in charge of her schedule, her appointments and her expenses. And most importantly, I get to go with her to Paris for Fashion Week in the fall.
And before I even get off the boat, all I can see is coconuts. There is no beach.
And a new, better, wonderful me would rise from the ashes like a phoenix. Behold, the splendor of my beginning.
I rest my case, Your Honor.
I just found the most beautiful bird you've ever seen in your life. This is my new closest ally in this game. This phoenix right here. This could be the break that I need to pave my way to the end.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Can I say a quote without everybody laughing?
Yeah.
It's a quote from Magellan. He said that life is for the bold to seize the opportunity when it comes, not those poor intrepid souls that stay close to shore. But it is the person that goes out in the storm that is willing to take the risks that reap the high rewards. Of course, he did get bludgeoned to death in the Philippines, but that's what I think about this moment, sir.
Of course, he did get bludgeoned. Little, just drop that in there. And then, of course, our boy Coach gets bludgeoned out of this game. I don't even know what that word means, really. I mean, hit, I think. I don't know. So it might be a bit of a jump scare because I am doing video today. I don't know if I'm even going to use it. We'll find out. If you're just listening to audio, nothing's going to change for you. But if you're looking at the video, here's a little jump scare for you. Here I am in probably 720p because I think I got this camera at a thrift store. Also got this at a thrift store. But microphone's nice. The microphone's nice. Can't even see it, but it's nice. Something that Hannah brought up to me while we were watching was she was like, think about the poor intern that had to set out all those coconuts. 2,000 coconuts on this hot Fijian beach, spreading them all out. That poor intern. And then Sari has her moment. I mean, every moment, it seems like a Sari moment this year. She's crushing it. Absolutely crushing it. Man, I hope she wins. But there's no way, right? There's no way they're going to actually let her get to the end and win this thing. Maybe they will. I got some thoughts around that. But I also wonder if this imagery of the Phoenix is also Sari changing her game. Because this is the first time where she kind of breaks off from the old school people in a meaningful way that's going to upset them. And so maybe this is Sari's new beginning in some ways, as she kind of talks about. And then we get the Coach quote at the end. This is the same quote that's used in the trailer that got us all so hyped for this season. Terrific quote. Terrific Coach moment. So many Coach moments. Somebody at church this week came up to me and said, what did I think about this episode? And I was kind of asking about their thoughts on Coach. Had they seen seasons of Coach before? One of them had, one of them hadn't. And the one that hadn't never vibed with Coach. She was over Coach from the beginning, and I don't blame her. He's a polarizing dude. The one that had seen Coach before had gotten to a point where he was like, okay, I think I'm kind of done with Coach. And I would say this is a good exit point for Coach to head out here. You got a lot of Coach, enough Coach to where if you really needed that, whenever you saw the trailer and got hyped for Coach to come back, that has been fulfilled. He now gets to leave, and we get a new game. And I'm fine with this exit point for Coach. I was kind of, now that at the point when Q left, I was also kind of at a place where I was like, I was kind of ready for Q to go. But, I think now that I've had Coach for a few extra episodes, I think I would have liked Q to stick around a little bit more. But just these sort of huge, larger-than-life characters, there's times where you kind of are like, all right, I want to hear from some other people. I want to start hearing some actual strategy. And now we get that, now that Coach is gone. And we got that whenever Q left as well. So this vote was pretty confusing to me. Not from like a how is it gonna like work out and just how do the numbers work, but just from a strategic standpoint, I didn't really understand why Cirie was so adamant about voting for Coach and Chrissy. And there's a confessional in there. Maybe Tiffany says something like, if we do this, it totally frees up the game. And that's kind of how I saw everything, because if you do this, there's no tight alliance anymore. It becomes a lot of 2 or 3 people together everywhere. And I didn't really understand why that was so good for Cirie and so important for her. And then we get this moment where Chrissy tells Cirie, hey, some people are thinking about voting Rizzo, and I'm kind of spurring that on. And I'm like, then it makes sense. Then it totally makes sense. So let me see if I can find.
There is a group that wants to get out. Rizzo and Emily.
No one besides Ozzy really knows. One of my closest allies is Rizzo. And as soon as I heard that Chrissy was targeting Rizzo, it was a done deal for me.
Now it makes sense. Because so much of this game is you find people that are loyal to the soil. Are they going to be there for you no matter what? Do they have this mindset of, oh, I'm taking this person all the way to the end? Or at least I'm taking this person all the way to 4 and 5, you know, something like that. Like kind of a Maria Charlie kind of thing. Or a, who do we have recently? Who was I watching where that was, you know, yeah, Savannah and Rizzo kind of thing, right? Where they're just gonna, they're going all the way to the end. They kind of also think that they can beat you, Camilla and Kyle. And so, you know, just stuff like that, where I'm like, you got to find that kind of person. And I think Cirie has that in Ozzy and Rizzo. And I think she recognizes that. So when she heard that Rizzo's name was being brought up by Chrissy, even if it's not now, even if it's later, that she would even think that an opportunity to get rid of somebody that's thinking about Rizzo, get rid of her. I totally get that now. And that was a good time to do that. And you also get rid of somebody like Coach, who, even if he's not somebody that is going to have strategic influence, Chrissy, I think, was kind of the strategy behind that, even though Jonathan is playing, I think, a really good game. I don't know if it's going to be respected by the jury, but I think he is showing himself to be so much more than just this challenge beast. Because I don't even think he's really won an individual immunity yet either. So is he a challenge beast? I don't know. But I think Chrissy was a lot of the brains in operation behind that group. And so now that she's gone, that's probably going to fade away. And you're going to get these kind of pockets of people all over the place. And we'll see what kind of comes of that. I mentioned it last week, but this quote from Coach.
Vote me out tonight, and there will be hell to pay.
Is there? Is there going to be hell to pay next episode? Probably not, because he's gone. He's voted out. There will be no hell to pay. There's just going to be people changing the game completely. Pockets everywhere. And so we'll see what comes of that. There's a Rizzo confessional I wanted to flag. If you're watching the video, you see my notes up here. And so this is what I do every episode if you're watching the video. If you're not watching the video, I have a whiteboard behind me. Different colored markers everywhere for my open, for my drops I want to play, and for my body of my episode. Shout out Grant Trotter, body. And so then if I have a drop I want to play in the body, I put that in black because all my drops are in black. So my Rizzo confessional that I got for you here. Rizzo and Chrissy.
With Chrissy coming after me, I chuckle because if we can look at the lore of what happens to people who take shots at me, they don't make it out alive.
Why was this confessional put in there? I didn't totally understand. Because Rizzo didn't necessarily control the vote. It seemed like Cirie was really controlling the vote there. Obviously, he's with Cirie, and so their kind of trio, their hidden trio, was influential in making this kind of go that way. But he didn't control the vote, and so he's saying, you come at me, you're going to be out of the game. My dude, you didn't control the vote. You're just kind of along for the ride. He got a vote from Chrissy. Chrissy did vote for Rizzo and Emily, but she's out of the game. And so sometimes you'll see this, okay, there's going to be bad blood here now if you vote for me. They vote for you. And then the next episode, they don't forget that. I'm watching season 47 right now, and Sue cannot let go that Kyle voted for her. Is that his name? Kyle? Yeah. Kyle voted for her episodes ago. Day 4 or something. Kyle voted for her, and she just cannot let that go. And so we just got this montage of her talking about how much she dislikes Kyle because he voted for her so long ago. We're getting some of that even now with Tiffany and Joe, Tiffany and Ozzy, the fallout of voting for somebody. But in Rizzo's confessional here, we get this, you come at me, you best not miss, because if you do, you're going down. And so, but there's no fallout from that. And so what I think is happening here is that it's setting up something for Rizzo later. I think somebody's going to come after Rizzo, and we're going to get this moment of, if you come after Rizzo, you best not miss. And so I'm looking forward to that. I really do think they're setting up for something like that. Who's it going to be? Who's going to come after Rizzo? I don't know, man. We got a lot of moving pieces here. The twist, the double trouble twist. That's what I'm calling it. I don't know if it has a name, but we'll work with that. I love it because it forces strategy talks with people that probably otherwise wouldn't necessarily talk strategy. And so I'm sure we didn't see Christian and Jonathan. We didn't really get a cut of them in the episode. But they're definitely chatting about this vote, what it means. I guess we do get that at Tribal, right? Whenever it's a live Tribal, Jonathan and Christian are sitting next to each other. And so he's kind of asking him, like, are you voting for Devins? And Christian says, yeah, I'm still voting for Devins. Like, and so they get to kind of chat there. Like, obviously there was some larger conversation. Stephanie comes and joins them. We get Joe and Tiffany talking strategy. They're on the reward. And so naturally they're going to kind of talk strategy anyways. Speaking of the reward, disappointing. Very disappointing reward. Because my thinking was, you got Zach Brown early on. Easily one of the best rewards. Whatever you may think about Zach Brown, easily one of the best rewards in the new era. By far. You get Applebee's pre-merge, during the mergatory or whatever. And so it's setting up, usually Applebee's is final 7, final 6, 8, something like that. And so we get Applebee's pre-merge. I'm thinking, man, these rewards, they're going to get huge. And we get a plate of spaghetti. We get some dry ass noodles and some tiramisu. I don't even like tiramisu. Okay? Cancel me now. I don't even like tiramisu. Now, if you were planning something for me soon and you thought, I'm going to make Cody a tiramisu, I saw it on Survivor, this will be fun. I love it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'll still eat it. I'll eat it live on camera now because I got a camera. No, but this is pasta, that's what we're going with. And then, last episode there was something that was pretty lame. And so I was hoping they would continue to ramp up. By the end, we're just getting, something we've never seen out in Fiji being done, but pasta. So I do have this theory that you get to say what food is your favorite or what food you're going to miss the most. Like, I think there's a survey that they fill out beforehand. Maybe I can talk to a past contestant and they can confirm this. But I believe, this is my theory, that you get a survey. I miss coffee. I'm going to miss coffee the most. I'm going to miss donuts the most. Whatever, right? And so they have some of these rewards where I'm like, where did they come up with this? Or like, why is this person so excited about pancakes or whatever, right? And I wonder if it's because, like, oh, Cody put on his thing that, like, iced coffee. I'm going to miss iced coffee the most while I'm out here. And so when the reward comes up and he's like, iced coffee, and I lose my mind, then I know I'm like, oh, this is my reward. This is the one. Like, they put this item in there for me because they knew that I would go crazy about this. And so I do have this theory that, like, that happens sometimes. Because as I'm going through 47 with my wife right now, there was, I forget what the reward was, but it was something random, like potato salad or something like that, where one of the contestants was like just fell to their knees over potato salad. And I'm like, everybody else is kind of like, sweet, yeah. And so I'm like, oh, it feels like they did that kind of stuff. I don't know. So maybe somebody's reward was, man, I'm going to miss spaghetti and meat sauce. Well, you got it, buddy. You got it. So this reward, or this twist makes you kind of talk with different people. I also love that it totally changes the dynamic of the game in one vote without screwing somebody over. You could argue that maybe it kind of screwed somebody over because they didn't know what they were getting into. But even then, like, you still have your vote. It's deep enough into it that if you did lose your vote earlier, you've gone to a tribal council now, and so you've gotten it back. But you still have agency in the game. You can... I thought there was going to be something neat there happening when Chrissy went up to Devins and Aubrey and was basically like, hey, it's clearly between us right now. What if we got together and then we pushed it somewhere else? Emily and Rizzo. She didn't have enough, I think, relationships in the game or knowledge about the dynamics of the game to realize that Emily was very close to Devins and Aubrey, and she's one of the middle people, as we've quoted it now. And so I don't think she had enough insight and awareness about the game to realize that's probably not the people to do. But she, her options were limited. But I could see something like that becoming really cool in the future, and I hope they continue to do stuff like that. Jeff has stated before that he doesn't like double tribal councils. And so I don't know if that means it's like back-to-back tribal councils, which I think, the Blood Moon was 3. So I don't know. But this is obviously different because it's 2 at once. And so I'd love to know his take on it, how he feels about it. I hope he sees that the community response is like overwhelmingly positive. At least it seems. I haven't really read too much about it that's a negative. So hopefully we get to see some more stuff like that. I am, particularly if it means we bring back 20 people instead of 18 people, then I would love to see something like that. Bring it on back. More contestants too. All about it. Better chance for me to get cast. The vote theme of this season. So I think every season has kind of like a vote theme. A way that people vote that is continued throughout the season, at least like post-merge. Pre-merge, it's often, let's not upset people, let's do what's easy. And season 50 is no different. I think we had a lot of that pre-merge as well. But then post-merge, you usually get like, all right, this is how this game is going to kind of go. And this is the kind of the culture of this season. And I think that this season's votes are about breaking up alliances and then also protecting your own alliance. So Colby was a vote to break up the Honor and Integrity Alliance and then also protect the people there. Genevieve was protecting, it was a vote to protect the Middle People Alliance. Camilla was a vote to kind of disband T. Well, I did it again, dude. 2 weeks in a row. D and Tiffany. Does anybody else do that? T and Tiffany? No, I mean, this is what happens. I mean, I'm saying a lot more words than people, so. Man, that is. Let's make it 3 next week. Oh, this is a special 420 episode. I didn't even realize. 420, of course, popular because it's my buddy Joseph Glass' birthday. That's the only reason it's popular. But yeah, so I think that vote was to break them up. And then I think I had... Y'all gotta see me look back at my notes. I'm not facing the board anymore, so I gotta lean back like Fat Joe and look at my notes. Q was also a vote to protect their alliance as well. And so this one, you're doing a few things. You're breaking up an alliance, and then you're also protecting, for some people, what's their names? Devin and Aubrey. And so now the middle people, I think, become the biggest alliance that's left. So you have Devins, Aubrey, Emily, Christian. Those 4 people. And then over here you got Rizzo, an unknown alliance. Rizzo, Ozzy, Sari. Who else is kind of seen an alliance? Jonathan, Stephanie, Joe, kinda. He seems to kind of... He had this moment where he was like, I cannot vote for Coach out of principle. He says this at the live tribal. I cannot vote for Coach out of principle. He votes for Coach. Come on, Joe. Honor and integrity. Did he lose? Did he lose Coach's jury vote? Can you drag Joe now? Can you drag Joe to the end? Because will he get no respect out of people? I don't know. Maybe. Could be an opening there. Could be a, big mistake. Big mistake by Joe. So I think that middle group is probably the biggest alliance now. And so if you're having these votes that are breaking apart alliances and just kind of severing people into different places so that you have more options, then I wonder if the middle people could be the next target, on top of Devin's just found this fake idol. And so now, if you're also trying to flush these idols, which I don't really know if they are, they kind of did with Aubrey, but Aubrey was also on the bottom already. But if they're trying to, they got a bigger target on their back now, without the protection of the idol. You have the target of the idol without the benefit and protection of the idol. So that kind of sucks for them. On top of that, I do think it's like you can have an alliance that's pretty big. You can be the target of things. But you better have people in that alliance that can win immunity and mess up the plans and give you a little bit more sway and power in the conversations because one of your people has immunity. Devins, Emily, Christian, Aubrey, none of them are going to be the favorites to win immunity. Obviously, at any point, any of them can. But I mean, Aubrey and Devins just had this huge lead in this challenge and dropped it to Joe and Tiffany. So I'm not really liking their chances, even though, on their respective seasons, they've all done fine in immunity challenges. This is a different beast. You got some actual beast playing immunity challenges on this one. So who knows? Who knows? Maybe they can get lucky and figure something out. What do we got next? The Secret Alliance. I think those are what's going to prevail. We saw it on 47. And so 48. 48 was the season they just watched before they went out there. And so you would think they would have sort of this, all right, let's watch out for secret alliances. Let's read between the lines on things. And that might be what Joe and Tiffany are about to be trying to do. They just had this reward. We saw this scene where they got to connect. Tiffany even has this moment where she's talking to Ozzy and she says, yeah, he voted for me, but he came to me. And he talked to me about it. Like, I think he genuinely wants to leave the door open to work with me. And so maybe Tiffany and Joe can link up, and that can be a pretty cool duo. Because I think together, they might have a little bit more of a strategic mind than separate. Maybe. We'll see. Maybe they'll just influence each other into horrible decisions. And then obviously the alliance of Ozzy, Suri, and Rizzo is going to have the opportunity to dominate. I already think that Ozzy and Suri are going to go far. They are playing a great game with a lot of good relationships. And we're also getting things like this Rizzo and Chrissy moment, where it seems to be setting up for Rizzo to say, somebody else is coming after me. Look what happens when you come after the Riz God. Are we getting much Riz God talk? I kind of missed that. So apparently Rizzo's been sick. I was reading about this in an interview. If you go back and watch where Coach invites him into the Four Horsemen, he's very subdued. In that confessional, very subdued. And a part of me was thinking like, oh, this is a different Rizzo. So maybe he's just with a different group of people, and so he's, kind of chameleon, acting more like them. He mentions that in like one of the earlier episodes, how he's like, oh, I've been able to change the opinion of these people. And I thought maybe we're getting some of that Rizzo, but then I saw in an interview like he had food poisoning or something. Like he was like really down bad. I think maybe D talked about it. Like Rizzo was just like really sick. And so I'm like, oh, that's what's going on. So maybe that's why we're not getting R-I-Z-G-O-D, Riz God baby, is because he's got diarrhea or something. The Devins idol, was Christian annoyed during that? So when he got up to go get it, Christian kind of puts his hand on his face, and just kind of like has this smirk of like, oh my gosh. But it could have been like acting it up. He does kind of ham it up, time and time again. He's had a few scenes of doing that. And so maybe he was playing into it, acting up, just kind of, acting like, oh my gosh, of course he found an idol. look what Devins can do. And because he was also trying to convince people that he was voting for Devins. And so maybe he was acting, but he also kind of looked annoyed because they had the votes. They had the votes to get out Chrissy and Coach. And so maybe Christian was thinking, man, we don't need this right now. But whatever. And then Joe, of course, like I mentioned earlier, I'm not writing Coach just on principle. And then he writes Coach. All right, some drops for you this week. Already said.
Vote me out tonight, and there'll be hell to pay.
There ain't. And then also Joe had one that I really liked. Let me see if I can find this one.
I had wrote her name down, and I need to work this out because I can bring her into my fold. Tiff's a free agent, and I got a #1 draft pick.
That's not how sports works. So if you were wondering, that's not how sports works. If somebody's a free agent, it don't matter that you got a draft pick. But whatever, Joe. I love stuff like that. Like last week when Emily called somebody a flat-faced liar.
But I guess the old coach is back. Hey guys, what's up? It's the Dragon Slayer.
Coach pisses me off. Coach is just a flat-faced liar most of the time.
I think about flat-faced liar. I'm not even kidding. Probably once a day, dude. Probably once a day over the past week. I think about flat-faced liar. He's a flat-faced liar. That poor guy. That poor guy.
And now here's the listener of the week.
Thank you, Max Ferris. I don't even know if you listened, but you came up to me at church this week. You said, what did I think about the episode? I used to listen to your podcast, bro. You listening to mine? Maxie Paxi? You listening to this? I'll find out, because now you're the listener of the week. And if you text me, I'm going to know you listened. If you don't text me, then I rescind this. I'm going to rescind this is what's going to happen. You will make history as the first ever listener of the week that had their status rescinded. Is that how you pronounce that? Is that how the word? There's a lot of words. Like if I ever get on Survivor, when I get on Survivor, manifest it, Queen. Whenever I get on, I'm gonna say a lot of dumb stuff. Cause I know like words. Like if I hear it, like bludgeoned, I hear it and I know. But also, I don't have enough confidence to really say it outside of just outside of autocorrect helping me out, you know. And so you're gonna have a lot of flat-faced liar moments from me out there, for sure. And I make weird faces too. And so if you're on this 720p camera right now and you're watching this episode, I'm sure I've just made a lot of. I grimace a lot. I touch my eyebrows a lot. I get very serious. I don't know, man. It's going to be... People are going to have some weird thoughts and weird feelings about me because of that. Okay, thank you for listening this week. Awesome episode. I loved it. One of my favorite of the new era. I'm really excited to see how all of this stuff plays out with all the kind of the free agent. But it's like they're pairs. So you got a lot of sway. You convince one person, you can convince half the tribe, basically, to vote some way. So it's going to be awesome. Great twist. Great job, production. Congratulations, Sari. You found your phoenix, and now hopefully you will be rising from the ashes to take over this game. Let's get Sari to be the winner of Season 50. I'm going to talk about that next time. I think there's people playing this game where their main goal is to get Sari to win. I really do. Mike White talked about it before the season, and I think that's going to happen again in Season 50. And I'll put that on the board here, put it in the body, and talk about that next week. Maybe we'll see how this episode goes. Too much to talk about this week. There's so much going on. Thanks for listening. Y'all have a great week. Bye.
Thank you for listening to my Daddy Survivor podcast. Got nothing for ya? Head back to camp. Love you. Bye.